So we're back to Brighouse with Joel Robinson to have a tour of the garden. So, hi Joel.
Hello, welcome to Oakroyd Close Exotic Garden.
Fantastic.
We've got a noisy event on the Sports Centre field opposite today, but hopefully you can still hear us.
Yeah, we've got some background music, but it's not of our choice, so we'll just go with it. And right,
yeah.
Joel, let's have a look at this beautiful flowering plant on this corner.
Yeah, we've got a Roscoea purpurea Spice Island here, which is one of my favourite plants. It's just coming to the end of its flowering season now, but still pushing out flowers. All the other Roscoeas are finished. This one continues with considerable vigour. It's one of my favourite plants.
It's really nice, that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's done well with this very, very dry year we've had so far.
It has, yeah. Colocasia pink china left to do its own thing. Not very big this year, but still
looking really healthy there.
Nice looking plant with some begonias in among as well, which always look good. It's a nice planting on a corner bed there. Really, I quite like.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, this lower part of the garden, you would say, is more of a large-leaved, more tropical-esque part of the garden.
Yeah, absolutely. We have gingers which are flowering quite quickly and fading, I've noticed this year, maybe because of the dry soil.
I think, yeah, it's been such a, it's been a dry year. It's been a pretty hot year at times as well, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. One Eucomis still doing its thing.
Yeah, so the Eucomis.
Beautiful this year, the Eucomis.
Trachycarpus.
Regular Fortunei, which is putting on some growth, and the maturity is everything with these things. It takes years. It's 4 years now with this garden.
And all these, I'll just move back, all these plants planted in a raised bed, effectively, aren't they?
Yes, they are. And there was nothing there before, so I've just brought in railway sleepers and topsoil, compost, and planted into that.
Brilliant. And then as we move down, we've got a mixture of more hardy plants here.
The planting is a little bit dense. We've got a Xanthodecia aethiopica marshmallow pink. I bought the seed from South Africa for that one. It does have a pretty flower when it's doing its thing.
Yeah, we've got one flower just through there, I can see.
Well spotted, yeah. Probably not quite room for a Tetrapanax in here, and that was a seed-grown plant. Cornish grooved Rex, which is a different one. And then lurking here, we've got a seed-grown Bootia Eriospartha, which has two heads. It's more years old than I'd care to remember, but it's finally turning into a palm. It's finally starting to do its thing, which I'm quite happy about.
Beautiful arching leaves there.
Yeah.
The bamboo on the corner.
And an enormous Paulonia
and
here.
Paulonia, which is really gone for it this year, it looks like.
Yeah.
Look at that, getting the camera.
And that gets cut back to here every year.
So that's really put on a lot of growth in 1 year.
Absolutely.
So that's been in, I guess, 3 or 4 years, something like that?
3 or 4 years now, but it was a plant that I had in a pot for a few years at the last house, and it was desperate for planting out, really. And now it's doing its thing.
Yeah. I should say we're filming this sort of middle of September now.
Yeah.
So the end of not quite the end of the growing year, but we're getting there.
Absolutely, yeah. But I could use a few more of these dotted around in the garden. They give instant height, really.
They do.
Which is
they do. And they're nice and hardy plants as well, with the huge leaves.
Yeah. And
they've got some more ground cover plants. And
some more planting, more Xanthodecias, more begonias. We've got a Persicaria Compton's form, which is starting to look interesting here. Silvery leaves, quite a bit bigger than Red Dragon. That's going to be an interesting plant in a few years. Begonia emiensis lurking in among here, starting to establish itself in what has been a very dry summer. That's going to be nice in future years, I suspect.
Yeah, so in terms of watering this year, because it has been such a dry year and a lot of the gardens in sort of raised beds, I guess watering's been
difficult.
I mean,
before the hose pipe ban, I could just put the hose on and leave it, you know, to saturate the soil. A good strategy is to not water too often, but give a good soak when you can. In a hosepipe ban, that's somewhat difficult, and I wouldn't normally have to resort to watering plants planted in the ground, essentially, but that's what I've had to do this year with watering cans. So they've had little and often, really, up until the rain a week or two ago, which seems to be non-stop now. You know?
We're lucky we're getting a little window of opportunity to film this between probably more rain coming soon.
Yeah, but it's still mild. We've still a good month of growing left.
Definitely. I mean, talk about growth. The plant behind you here, the biggest plant in this bed is the Tetrapanax.
And that might be the Krug Rex, or it might be the seed-grown Cornish grooved Rex. And the reason I say that is because I had a Rex planted there. It was killed in the 2022 winter, didn't regrow, or maybe it did, but I planted a seed-grown plant in its place, which I'm told is Cornish grooved Rex, which is this thing here. I suspect the distinctive yellow veins in the leaves informs me that that is Cornish grooved Rex.
Yeah, it's a lovely form.
Yeah,
and it's dominating. Obviously, this corner here, really nice. Because I remember from the visit we did last year, you had a manihot here.
Yeah, and it's still there, but it's lurking in the background there.
Trying to delve in.
It was left planted out. The rather thin woody stem was killed, and 3 stems have grown in its place, and I'm probably going to leave it there and see what happens. I've got another in a pot, which is doing well.
So this is a plant that, you know, it's not grown too often, but people like this plant and want to know if it's hardy or not.
Yeah.
And I think it's on the edge, isn't it, really?
Possibly. I mean, I think get it well established, plant it out, it might be harder. I have another one in a pot.
This is beautiful, this one.
Which is setting seed as well, which is interesting.
Well, those seed pods up there.
That's the difference between leaving one planted out and overwintering one in the greenhouse.
I mean, it's got to a sizable plant in not a huge pot, really.
It had a repot maybe a month ago into that pot. Needs a lot of water. It's a terracotta pot, but it's the leaves are stunning. Very nice.
Really nice.
Very nice plant. Not so interesting in the leaf form, but one that is very, very sought after at the moment. The Depia splendens. It was covered in orange flowers a few days ago, and then the rain, the thunderstorms that we've had have caused most of them to fall off, but we have a few yet to open. And I've had this plant now probably 5 or 6 years, and it's starting to produce some cutting material, so I will try to propagate it quite soon. Very rare, of course, extinct in the wild.
Yes. Really nice plant. And then behind, we've got... I've better point this out because people think it's a hardy plant, possibly, but it's a house plant, isn't it? This philodendron.
So there's a monstera and there is a thaumatophyllum. So there's 2 large-leaved house plants there, both of which I overwinter in the summer house potting shed that's heated to about 10 degrees. It's well insulated, so it's quite easy to heat that particular building. And they're a bit big for the house now. They did live in the house at one time, but they've outgrown the house. And I don't know if you can see up there, Kris, there's a newly planted Fascicularia bicolour subspecies Canaliculata, which is the hardy one. I would like to experiment with more of these bromeliads grown as epiphytes, and I will in due course. But at least I know that one is hardy, and it should do absolutely fine there. There's a little Tillandsia bergeri as well, just keeping it company.
Oh, yes, underneath.
It's a little bit dry up there. There's one lower down, but you can't see it for the big leaves of everything else in there. Let me try and show you that one. So there's another there.
There we go.
Give them a year or 2 and they'll be quite big.
Yeah.
And they should establish themselves quite nicely.
Really nice. Right, where should we go next?
A weird house plant that I will point out here. It's a Gynura. It was just something I bought, took a punt on. Hideous flowers, absolutely awful flowers, but purple and orange, quite a nice combination.
It is. very striking there in that pot.
And I do have a lot of palms dotted around. They're not planted out yet, but that is a waggy princeps. So you've got the nice silvery underside and a bit of stiffness in the leaf. The more sun they get, the stiffer the leaf, the more waggy characteristics come out. But they're going to be nice palms someday. And behind you there is a tender, but nice to be outside in the summer months. That's an Archonta Phoenix Cunninghamiana, an Australian palm.
Yeah, you don't see those every day. Very exotic looking palm tree, and one that's obviously grows well enough outdoors in summer.
Yes,
and,
yeah, it's going to get too big for the greenhouse eventually, but fun while it lasts.
Yeah.
I'll just show you this as well, because the leaves have held up well.
Oh, look at that, yeah.
So the best Aricema, in my experience, for the garden, to come back year after year, Aricema consanguineum, and this particular one is called the Perfect Wave. Setting seed again, as you can see there. When the berries are bright red, they can be removed and planted, and quite reliably will germinate. And I believe there's 2 amarines in this pot. That one's a slightly darker pink than that one. Intergeneric hybrid between Amaryllis belladonna and a Nerine or Guernsey lily. Could be hardy in the garden, I think.
Yeah,
maybe,
and it's a nice late flowering plant, isn't it?
Yeah, we were talking about Nerines being worth a try, weren't we? And I haven't, I've certainly not had any success growing them outdoors, but I'll give them another go, I think. I'll try them at some stage. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Shall we go up the steps?
Yes, go up the steps.
We have a lot of steps. We've got a forest of Tetrapanax, a very nice Butea odorata that I've had for several years. Proof that you can grow them in northern England, and they're definitely worth growing. You might lose them in a bad winter, but 10 years of growth there, quite happily. And there's a Tetrapanax Mayfeng to the front of it, which has a slightly different habit to the other. You might be able to see it better from where I'm standing here.
Yes, yeah.
A bit of a rarer one.
It's over there.
Krug Farm seed collection.
The Spanish flag growing up and around it as well, isn't there? A bit of colour there.
And I'll show you this one, Kris, as well. Butea Agrosariospatha, my one success from seed. I had 10 seeds. I tried various things, crushing them and filing the seeds and all sorts of things, but this was the one that grew. So that's Cyagrus Romanzophiana Santa Caterina form crossed with Butea Eriospatha, which we think is a very good plant for the UK climate.
Yeah. It's a very sought after plant, very exotic looking feather palm once it really gets going.
And theoretically hardy to -10. You lost yours.
I lost mine,
yes. Yeah. So I will grow this on to as big as I can get it before I plant it out.
I think that's the case, yeah. I think with these rarer palms, hard to replace palms. I think you've got to give it the best chance and get it to a good size before planting it.
And we were also saying that being a hybrid, you may not get 2 plants ever the same. Every individual clone will have its own mix of genes, and the hardiness could vary from not very to very as well. So nice palm though.
It is.
Palm. Various things in pots on the walls and things around. There we have a tree dandelion that came back from Lullingstone Castle last week. Looks like a weed, but
a relative of one, but yeah, it's not a weed.
A nice thing. A succulent Tradescantia, which is
that's more unusual, yeah.
Quite weird. Nice flowers as well. I've been growing some dahlias from seed, a species dahlia called Coccinea, red-orange flowers. Not many flowers yet, but I think we might see some in the next few weeks before the frosts.
So that's more of a trailing.
It's a trailing dahlia as well, which is a nice one
unusual.
Trailing down a wall. Brugmansia was covered in flowers until about a week ago, and then the rain and the thunderstorms seem to have put that on hold for the minute. Canna musifolia, of course, which is a very good doer. Better overwintered in a pot, I find, than left in the garden.
Yes, I found the same as well. I think mine's really struggled this year to get on a lot of height. It took a long, it's been a hot, dry, sunny year.
Of course.
Because it was a cold winter.
Yeah.
It really struggled to get going at the start of spring.
They need some food, some moisture to really get growing again.
And then the big plant behind.
Enset Hiniba, looking a bit battered now, but still a very stunning statement plant. I've had that one now 8 or 9 years. It's very heavy to take to the garage, an internal garage, to overwinter. I find turning it upside down and draining those leaf bases is quite problematic because the weight of the plant is inevitably going to cause damage. So I might have to devise some kind of tie it with washing line or something and suspend it. That might be the way to do it, But then I'll cut all the leaves off, most of the roots, stand it in a pot and neglect it for the winter in the garage. Spring comes around, I might crank up the temperature in the top greenhouse a little bit, 10 degrees, put some soil in the pot and gradually give a little bit of water. But the other problem I have as well is that the first leaf is going to hit the ceiling of the 7'5" greenhouse. It's just got so big now.
Yeah, it's a huge plant. But apart from the overwintering, it's easy to grow in the summer.
Yes.
Just goes for it.
Very wind tolerant. And actually, without a lot of watering or feeding, it's attained that height. It's done very well.
Fantastic.
More Brugmansia, but unfortunately not too many flowers on this one. An orange flower, plenty of buds on it at the moment. So maybe in a day or two I will have, for the first time.
There's plenty of buds.
Bear in mind I grew it from seed and it wasn't a mature plant when it was planted out this year. Maybe next year it's going to do better. Plenty of Impatiens around this year. 1 or 2 did suffer in the heat and the dryness, but in here we've got a couple of different forms. I forget the names, but that will be the one that's cockatoo something. And this is rather nice. Here. The detail in the flower is actually very pretty.
Yeah, that's lovely, isn't it?
It is.
And in terms of overwintering this plant?
I believe they need to be dug up and brought in. I do have a few. There's one called Ice Storm higher up in the garden with yellow flowers. That's hardy. Some of them are hardy, but these ones I believe are tender. Musa sycamensis, very easy to buy nowadays. You used to have to grow them from seed. Now you can pick up a plant for £6.50.
Yes, it's not quite hard enough to be left in the ground without any protection reliably, but it comes back, doesn't it, if you leave it out?
I think this one will probably be dug up and brought inside for the winter just because it's not too big. The other one down at the bottom had 2 winters outside. The last winter killed the pseudo stem completely, but it did come back from a pup. So maybe underground is bulking up enough for it to return year on year. I think it's possible. Yep. So I'll leave that one in situ, and this one will be insurance in the greenhouse. It's a bit of a scruffy corner over here. We've got the Xanthodecia Hercules that produces very nice leaves, but not a lot in the way of flowers for me. The flowers come early in the year. You might get them for a couple of weeks, but not the longer season that I'm seeing with the other Xanthodecia.
No, but I find the leaves make up for it because they are so large, and
absolutely.
The spotting on them is really interesting as well. And they're hardy, aren't they? They stay out and they just
hardy. Which is unusual because usually the spotted Xanthodecias, the calla lilies, are not hardy, and obviously Xanthodecia aethiopica is the hardy one, this being a hybrid involving aethiopica. Not sure what the other parent is, but it's an interesting thing.
It really is.
Somewhere in there is my only fern, and I suspect it may have given up the ghost. Yeah, I need more ferns, but obviously might not be the spot to plant them.
No, it's packed out with so many other plants here.
Absolutely. Greenhouse number 1 is here, still, as always, full of succulents. I do have an end set here that didn't do what it should have done, and instead it produced an awful lot of offsets this year, so I've been potting them up, and I have a few in the Vitapod in the garage, and there's a few just growing together there as well, which is interesting. Lots of agaves, cacti, aloes, aeoniums, echiverias, the main focus being hardy succulents that will grow outside in the UK, and many are already in my garden. Unlike this large row of plants that you have here, Kris, an array of mainly agaves, some very nice plants. There's a beautiful one here, Gwyngola, I think is the correct pronunciation.
Stunning, that one, yes.
We've got a
Really nice.
Dickia cherry coke that has flowered this year and will no doubt produce 1 million seeds quite soon.
Yeah, got the seed pods there.
A slightly more expensive acquisition, which is a Agave parii truncata called Oribaza. This one's always sought after. This one's parii huacachensis excelsior. We've got Mangave bloodspot here, which is a nice plant. Next to it, praying hands.
Praying hands down there, yeah.
I could go on.
There's plenty. Obviously, you've got a passion for the more arid style plants than the
especially agaves,
rosette forming plants.
Yes, yeah.
We're going to see a lot more of them as we move up.
We've got a good
out.
Facebook group actually for the agaves. This one's a Little Shark. Agave Collectors UK is worth a mention. I'm admin on that group. I don't think you're in it, Kris, but maybe I'll invite you. Up another flight of steps.
Right, let's
then.
go up the stairs.
We've got a little Eucomis there, which is worth a mention. It's Eucomis zambiziana or zambiziaca, Night Star, and beautiful spotty leaves and a very, very dark, tiny inflorescence that actually does set seed and gives me multiple plants as well.
Lovely, that's really nice.
Tiny little thing.
Right, we shall head up the stairs and we'll start seeing more of the arid plants as we go up here. We'll have a proper look as we climb up here.
The party's louder up here, the techno music.
It is.
So this is an unusual, we think, Agave salmiana ferox with a very, very broad leaf on it.
Yeah, it's really nice. Very unusual.
It does pup, and there's 1 or 2 pups on there, which might be overwintering when it does finally get planted out. A few variegates here. This is a mystery. This is called Cornelius. Allegedly, it's Agave Americana, but very different.
Very different indeed.
There's a hybrid with Ovatifolia here, which always looks a bit stressed and a bit pink. Maybe I should plant it out. It was bought as Agave Ovatifolia giant. It's definitely not Ovatifolia. Could well be a hybrid. But has always looked a little bit like this at this time of year, regardless of how much I pot it on. Another Ovatifolia here, called Emerald, and everybody agrees it's definitely not Ovatifolia. The detail of the leaf is beautiful. It's a stunning little plant.
Into that. That's lovely.
But it's not Ovatifolia.
No.
But it's very nice nonetheless.
It is, really nice one.
Yeah. New to me this year, we have some steel ring plantings, which are just in the course of rusting and developing that nice patina.
Nice. What have we got here? We've got a rostrata in this one here.
So Yucca rostrata. The plan was to put 2 Yucca rostratas in. I had 2 Yucca rostratas and 1 promptly flowered. So it's going to look dreadful for a couple of years. But actually I had a Jubaea that had been in a pot for 4 years, neglected. It's not looking its best, that's my fault. But it's too good a palm to not give special treatment. So
yeah, and once it gets its roots down there,
yes,
it's got the space to open up its leaves and really, get as big as it needs to get in that space.
Absolutely.
And with the drainage it's got, with obviously the raised element, it means that it won't suffer in winter, hopefully.
Absolutely. So fingers crossed, in a year or 2 that's going to start looking quite nice and I'll be able to cut the yellow leaves off. A new planting of Agave montana here to replace an Agave metis that didn't come through the winter. It was a stunning agave,
It was. I remember it from.
But not
from last
that
year.
hardy. Maybe -8 is the limit of Agave metis, and we had some mid-November very wet, heavy snowfall that splashed everything under the shelters, and then it froze for a week. So we had wet plants and freezing conditions, and I think that just killed it. We were talking about Fascicularia earlier, Kris, and this here is Fascicularia bicolor, subspecies bicolor, the less hardy one. And I am finding that I can get it through the winters if I give it a cloche or a shelter for some protection. And so fingers crossed, that's the strategy from now on. As you often find with bromeliads in particular that are on the border line of hardiness, puya for instance, if you treat them like a succulent plant, you can get them through the winters.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the same with cycads, fingers crossed.
Yes, hopefully, yeah.
There's a little Agave filifera that's getting a little bit swamped by this Erigeron here, but that's quite hardy. Well, it's had a couple of winters there in that spot, so
it's got through fine. That's
should
good,
be fine. Should be
yeah,
fine.
because last winter, what we think we got about -7-ish here.
I think
probably.
we got -8.
-8, so
yeah.
it was cold enough winter here.
It was.
And it was definitely very, very wet for
and
those
we had
plants.
a couple of instances where we had those week-long freezes as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which does can do a lot of damage to plants.
I wouldn't say it was a notably bad winter, but it certainly wasn't a mild winter.
Yeah.
An unusual plant over here, Kris, which I'll just show you. You might be familiar with Bilbergia nutans, a bromeliad that's commonly used as an epiphyte on trees. Well, this is a rare form of it, which is a lot stiffer in the leaf. The flowers are identical. I can't vouch for its hardiness because I've not tried it, but it's very, very different from the usual form. It's a rather interesting
another one
thing.
to try out, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll move up.
Seed-grown papaya there. It's not done much this year. Needs a repot and lots of TLC. So here we've got a Beschorneria Bob Brown of presumably Cotswold Garden flowers. It's a nice variegated Beschorneria Yuccas. Not completely hardy, I don't believe, without some protection in the form of a shelter. It's a big thing now.
It's big plant now,
it's
isn't
taking
it?
over that corner. There's a really nice agave behind it,
Okay, we'll
which
see
needs
if
to
we
be
can-
moved. And that was seed grown. That's a hybrid between Lophantha and Obscura.
Oh, yes.
It's sibling flowered, died, produced lots of seeds, but that one hasn't yet. So, but it deserves to be front of border, really.
Yes.
It's a little bit neglected at the back there. We've got a Jubaea, which is looking reasonably okay. It's not getting any special treatment there, but plenty of spears and new growth coming along. So hopefully it's not too tight a spot where it's planted, because it's got a dry stone wall and walls
Either
on
side, yeah. I think
sides.
it will put much longer leaves out
Yes.
pretty soon, I guess.
Yeah.
But it will find its way, I think, in
Hopefully
that space.
it might be encouraged to grow more upright.
Yeah, it
by
probably
its
will be,
position.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a nice juxtaposition with the Chilean wine palm against a stone wall.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, and it's with the arid planting in front of it as well. It's ultimately a nice backdrop for the
Really is.
arid planting.
So here we have another wonderful agave.
Agave oroensis with a big healthy pup here. There's another one down there. There's a bigger one behind it. So it's going for world domination, really, that one. These haven't done very well this year. This was a clone of a very established and seemingly very hardy echeveria that grows in Bingley, Yorkshire. I always understood it to be Secunda varglauca, but it might well be imbricata, I've been told more recently. There's an Opuntia just here, Kris, which I grew from seed, and that's Engelmannii, which is a good one for the UK climate, and I'm quite happy to see that its latest leaf, cladode, is much bigger than the previous ones. It's going to be a nice, good-sized Opuntia, isn't it?
Extremely long spines and that, isn't there?
Yes, yeah, and no damage at all from the winters it's had, so that's definitely going to be a good
fantastic.
one.
And did it have a rain shelter over it?
It just had the benefit of the shelter that was provided for the surrounding plants. So yes, it did. It did.
But it's looking pristine, so that's great. Another plant to try.
Yeah. Agave shidigera, which, or should I say more correctly, Agave filifera subspecies shidigera. Shidigera is a degree hardier and slightly more moisture tolerant than filifera. So it's definitely one to find. Hard to tell from filifera. It doesn't produce offsets, it doesn't pup. And that's the only distinguishing feature, apart from the flowers, which are a different colour. And I think quite a bit taller as well. See, quite a lot of cacti in the garden, and this is a seed-grown Sorensia formosa, which is a fantastic genus of cacti to try in the outdoors UK climate, from high elevations in Argentina. Formosa tends to have yellow flowers, subspecies Brucei red flowers, and if, in my case, you cross them and cross-pollinate them, you're going to get everything in between. But what I do find is that the hybrids flower much younger than straight subspecies Formosa would do. Aloe polyphylla.
Yeah, look at this one.
The spiral aloe.
And it's spiralling twice. We've got a double header.
It's a double header, yeah, yeah.
And obviously that's flowered as well again this year.
Yeah, so 2 years flowering now. Since, well, yeah, I grew it from seed. And this year I haven't sought pollen from anybody. So it's not very self-fertile at all. And you could expect very, very low seed set without a pollinator. But I've been keen to try and grow hybrids. And back in 2020, I used the pollen from polyphylla on what is now known as Aristalo aristata, which you can see down here. And the plants I got from that were different from the seed parent, not remarkable, nothing special, probably a bit of a mix of genetics. And those plants that have flowered this year have been used to pollinate this. All the seeds have been collected, but there were plenty of them, so that's going to be interesting.
It will, it will. It's great to just, try to get something a bit different.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We have a cactus here, a Sorensia formosa, which is 62 years old. The label, when I acquired it in 2013, was a lead label with pencil written on it, and had stood the test of time like no other plant label will ever do. March 1963, that was grown from seed.
That's a very old, precious plant.
It is, and you might consider me irresponsible for planting it outside, but it's protected. I've had it for more than a decade. It was overwintered in cold frames, never suffered any damage, and now it's been planted there for the last 4 years, and it's suffered no damage at all. Flowers profusely every May time with these yellow flowers. We can see here we've got an Agave metis.
This one.
This is the albicans or albidior, which grows alongside the apple green form in habitat, but is distinguished by its powdery farina that you get on the leaves. The rain actually washes it off, but the plants have this white appearance because of that farina.
Really, really nice agave.
It's a nice agave.
And it's one that's, it looks pristine. It's, again, got through the winter.
Yeah, the lower leaves have become damaged and died off very quickly, and new leaves have replaced them very quickly. So it's quite a fast-growing. Once it's got a free root run, because that spent 8 years in a pot and never did anything until it was planted out. And it's not a particularly hardy one for northern England, which is where we are, of course.
Yeah.
-8 might be its limit. Maybe a little bit more keeping it dry, but maybe not a long-term prospect. It's too big, I'm not going to dig it up, I'm not going to take it in the greenhouse.
Yeah. But it's got the benefit of the wall, hasn't it, for that heat as well.
Yes.
So that will help it a bit.
But so far, so good. It's doing all right.
Fantastic. And then as we move round to this bed, we've got a few plants on the way. We'll have to mention the biggest plant in the bed to begin with.
Of course.
It's absolutely astonishing.
This is huge.
Agave.
Well, it's
I'll
got
have to step
really
back so we can see all this.
Chunky leaf bases on it. Its spread is now, what would you say, approaching 6 feet.
Yeah, definitely. It's absolutely amazing, this one.
It's clearly not Agave ferox or Salmiana ferox. It may well be a hybrid between Salmiana and Asperima. It's the wrong colour, really,
and
as well.
the colour itself is such a beautiful shade of bluish green.
And this pink-red shade as well to the marginal teeth.
Yeah, it's
Quite a
stunning.
distinctive plant. It's a beauty.
Absolutely gorgeous plant,
Absolute
that one.
stunner.
But does it pup at all?
It hasn't produced a single pup to my knowledge. Well, actually, there is a pup down there, but I suspect that is the Parii that's producing the pups.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right down there.
So yeah, I've not seen a single pup.
Not
I
an
would
agave
expect it
pups.
to. I would expect it to.
Yeah, but it's gorgeous, gorgeous plant.
Yeah.
Okay, what else have we got in this bed?
Another Fascicularia bicolor subspecies bicolor, the not so hardy subspecies of what is a monotypic genus, used to be known as Fascicularia pitcairnifolia, but this is subspecies bicolor. Had some protection and subsequently doing fine. We've got new growth coming here as well.
Great.
So fingers crossed that will become established there. We can see a Parii that suffered a little bit in my possession. It seemed to shrink when I got it. I think maybe it spent its life in a polytunnel and has taken some time to adjust to the UK climate. Unlike this Agave Lophantha, I grew it from seed years ago. It spent a couple of winters outside in a pot, didn't die, and now it's rather nice, becoming a nice-looking plant. Trichocereus terschekii, the Trichocereus to try in the UK garden. Another Argentinian plant from high elevations.
And that's got some decent height on it, hasn't it? You know, it's...
It was probably this high when I got it, around about 2018, but the rest of it is new growth. It's never flowered, so it's probably too young to flower. Be nice to get it to flower.
Yeah,
really would.
It's a very long-lived plant as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We can see another cactus behind it, which is the Oreosirius celsianus, old man cactus. Has this fur to protect it in the Andes where it comes from. And there's one here, which I grew from seed, which has been planted out and seen its first winter outside.
Oh, wow.
And that had no damage at all.
Fantastic. So you're really pushing the boundaries in terms of so many of these cacti that you just don't see planted out anywhere, really, in the UK. Well, very rarely planted out.
And I mean, you'd be forgiven for thinking that late summer rain, we're heading into colder temperatures. We're likely to see a deluge of rain now. That might, be a danger to these plants. Mid-October, the shelters will go on, and they should have sufficient time to dry out before we see some frost. Early November, usually.
Yeah. Fantastic.
What else we got? We've got a Yucca fillifera, which is thriving here. Mixed opinions on hardiness, but never gets any protection.
And a quick grower, really, relatively
a small
quick.
plant when I got it. I've this year just planted this at the base of it, which is a Yucca baccata, the banana yucca that I grew from seed too many years ago. It's got a strange woody trunk on it here.
Hasn't it, down there, yeah.
Mainly, I think, due to its so many years it's spent in a pot. Put some roots down, it might start growing, you never know.
And then behind this...
So this was a gifted plant, a yucca which is either rigida or a hybrid between rigida and rostrata. I didn't protect it at all last winter. It was practically dead when I got it. It was a nice trunk with no top growth at all, maybe one leaf coming. So that new growth is quite nice to see. Fingers crossed it's the hybrid, because I know rigida doesn't have the moisture tolerance for the UK climate that rostrata does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm amazed to see it looking so well if it was rigida, because, last year we looked at it and it was growing, but it was quite a small amount of leaves just unfurling at the top, and now it's it's put on a decent amount of growth, I think, this year.
Absolutely.
And it's got through the winter, so if it was the true species, it'd be unlikely to have got through the winter. It's more likely, I guess, to be a hybrid.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Worth pointing out here, a nice plant to seek out if you're into arid style planting is Graptopetalum paraguayense. It does have some hardiness. In a sheltered position, it doesn't need any protection. That will get a cloche for protection. I have a few dotted around, and you know, there's always room for more of those. That's a nice thing to grow. We have a rostrata, which will put on some height in future years, but it's a nice specimen from hardy palms there.
And it's got full sun here, hasn't it? So it's got all the sun all day long, I guess.
Yeah,
Here.
so we're facing south east. South is that way, so we're facing southeast, so it does get uninterrupted sun. A few smaller agaves planted, which show no signs of suffering. Tumiana here. We've got Bracteosa, or should I say Paleo Agave Bracteosa, as it's now known, a small seed-grown plant. We've got a Mangave here,
That's unusual.
which was originally a hybrid between Manfreda virginica and Agave obscura, and differs from the kind that you can buy in Morrison's in that it's got some hardiness. And that's flowered for the first time. I've tried to get seed set, but I've not succeeded, unfortunately. A rather nice Dasylirium here, which actually admiring it for the first time in a while, I can see that that's becoming a nicely established thing.
That's lovely, that one.
Yeah.
And then we've got a Puntiacerii here, haven't we?
Yeah,
Doing well.
completely unprotected. It's got a bit of marking on it, but the new growth is fine. It might trail over the roof, or it might grow upright, we'll see, but doesn't really need any protection at all in a typical winter, which is remarkable.
It is.
For Yorkshire.
It really is, but it's a beautiful plant.
And an agave next to it here, which is also doing fine. Agave gracillipes, which is a natural hybrid between Agave lechuguilla and Neo Mexicana, and that's becoming a nice plant. Another agave there that did suffer some damage, that was a seed-grown Agave Xylonacantha Blue.
That's wonderful, that one.
Suffered some damage last winter, but has fully recovered.
That's good to see, and it should get to a decent size, do we think, on this size?
Yeah, it's produced a pup. Maybe I'll remove the pup, just as an insurance policy. Various cacti around, which produce beautiful flowers. They're not just any cacti. We've got Serentia, we've got Echinocerius, we've got hybrid Echinocerius, where I've had Reichenbachii Straminaeus, and I've cross-pollinated them and grown them on. It's about 5 years from seed to flower, but I'm seeing the flowers of the hybrids that I've done. They're just, to me, garden hybrids, and they seem to be good candidates for the UK garden anyway.
Brilliant.
We have a rather scruffy Ochagavia carnea here, which is the only one I have planted out at the moment. I say it's carnea, I think it's probably Andina. It's a bromeliad. Alongside Fascicularia is probably the next hardy bromeliad for the UK garden. Fascicularia having a flat blue flower in the middle of the rosette. This will have a flat pink, I say flower, but it's a structure of many flowers. Stunning South American bromeliad. Rather untidy one next to it is a Puya, I believe humilis, judging by the strange flower structure there, from Bolivia. Probably not terribly hardy for the UK climate, but has had one winter in that position.
And it's got through.
It's still alive.
Yeah.
We've got a noisy disco for company, but hopefully it can still be heard.
I think we
An
can.
Agave Montana here, which is worth a shot into the crown of it because it's a very toothy specimen and very nicely bud imprints,
Oh, yes.
markings on the leaves. And this was grown by me from seed in about 2009 when I first really got into agaves. spent far too long in a pot and has just this year finally been planted out and was looking a little bit rough, but it's starting to pick up now. It's obviously starting to put roots down. So as well as being a very good candidate for the UK garden, actually that's a rather nice specimen in its own right as well. It's going to look good. I didn't mention this, Kris, but this is obviously Aloe striatula. But you might notice that the leaves are a slightly different shade.
Yeah, a bit grey.
A grey-blue colour. And this is actually the Varsesia. So it's a distinct form of Aloe striatula, which produces yellow flowers with no orange on them, and is smaller and hardier. So something a bit different. Paleo Agave bracteosa again. A very hardy agave for the UK garden. Doesn't have any spikiness at all. It's quite different.
A safer choice then if you want to plant it near the edge.
Yeah, a very different plant for the UK. And I think we've covered this area.
I think we have.
A few nice agaves in pots over here.
Look at that one, beautiful.
So that is Mangave Kaleidoscope, which was a pup of snow leopard, how it originated, but that's a favourite. A mystery agave here. Didn't have a name and takes on this weird purple colour every year.
Purple sheen, yeah.
And then becomes green again in the winter. By next spring it'll be unrecognisable, but nobody knows what that is. Low Ferox, which is a hybrid between Agave Lophantha and Agave Ferox. Definitely worth trying outdoors, that one. And then Fireball, Parasana Fireball, which is, again, if you point the camera down into the crown, everybody wants to grow that one.
That's really nice looking.
A very nice agave.
Yeah.
A little bit smaller, but worth a look. And this is a form of Parii called Chihuahua. Very dark leaf tips. It's going to be a nice plant, going to get a bit bigger, very slow growing, but you know, a labour of love really. And these things get better the longer.
And they're nicely displayed on these stands, as you mentioned earlier.
Yes, yeah.
You get to see them all. It's really nice. We walk up these steps and around And then this area's changed a lot up here, hasn't it?
Has.
I mean, from last year, it was obviously a tricky area with the tree stumps and the overgrown, untamed nature of this part of the garden.
Yeah, so this has been never cultivated. We had to level that bit for the greenhouse with pickaxes and spades. And the steps are new. I did that raised bed. I've had some help putting those raised beds in. And
it's really opened up this area and made it a proper part of the garden, hasn't it now?
It's got potential, hasn't it? I mean, you know, this whole area here, the brambles are a problem, but maybe an extension of the arid planting, maybe some rockery stone, you know, build the level up, get some grit and gravel in there, some more agaves.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just put on screen what this looked like last year and before to now, and you can see how it's changed. And obviously, it's a work in progress, as you say, and lots of potential for this area, isn't there?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So in the highest part of the garden now, and it's, I guess, the sunniest.
Nice views around.
Yeah, lovely.
It's a bit noisy today.
Yeah, with the concert over there.
Yeah.
Providing a background.
And another brand new raised bed here.
Yeah, this is looking lovely.
Cycads. Cycas pansiwaensis, I grew this from seed in 2003. And one behind it, Revoluta, which has just become too big and heavy to take into the greenhouse every year.
So these were planted out this year or before?
Yes, planted this year. Hopefully, polycarbonate shelter will get them through and hopefully they'll survive. But I think they reach a point, eventually, a size where it just becomes impractical to take them in. And in a garden with 4 flights of steps,
it's tricky.
You know, it's become quite a burden. A few unusual things planted in around them, mostly temporary planting. the Aeoniums, of course, have woken up and started to look quite spectacular.
Yeah, they'll have enjoyed this recent moisture we've had this last week or two.
Yeah, and we've got an Archmea recurvata here. I believe this is a rare bronze form from a German botanical garden, I believe, with this weird flower structure on it.
Yes, black and red. It's really intriguing, that one.
Another Archmea around here. There's a couple actually that have flowered. There's one planted down there. There's another here. And actually they're growing very nicely, to say they've only been planted out a couple of months. They're really growing quite nicely. I will try these as epiphytes on a smooth bark tree, which is a bay tree down at the bottom of the garden. As palms mature, I'd like to try them on those as well. Rumour has it, hardy to about -8.
Right. So it's got a chance.
Yeah, and another Archmea here, Kris. Now that is a variety called Benrathii. Again, quite different from this one, quite different from the other one. So I had 3 distinct forms actually of.
Yeah, and the growing medium that you've used for this raised bed, is this mainly, again, a mixture of soil and grits?
It's 50-50. And
50-50.
probably, if I wasn't going to provide any kind of protection, pure grit would be the way forward. But of course, you're not giving the plants any nutrition if you do that. So it's
a
less
balance,
important.
isn't it?
Yeah. If you're covering the beds or you're covering the plants, that's less important. But I certainly wouldn't go more than 50% topsoil.
Yeah, definitely.
For that reason. For that, yeah.
Fantastic.
And then, yeah, there's not much to see up here. A friendly cat coming to say hello.
There we go.
Not much to see yet, but
it's definitely changed, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully in years to come, we'll have a garden to show you. Fingers crossed. And of course, the big greenhouse here, the main greenhouse, it's a rhino, and it was sited on soil, so it wasn't sited on a base. It's the only greenhouse that you can do that with, and given the location and having to get materials up here, that was a very practical solution. In the year we moved in, 2021, when you couldn't actually get a greenhouse, you couldn't buy greenhouses ahead of 6 months waiting time, and I needed something before the winter. But unfortunately, this greenhouse is sinking in that corner.
It's sinking?
It's sinking, and actually from lower down it becomes very evident that it is sinking. So my plan is to move it to the very bottom of the garden down there.
Okay.
Sometime next year, have a concrete base made for it, and relocate it with the power supply, the electrics and everything. I may need some LED lighting to get some of these plants through the winter, but then we'll have more of a garden that's not dominated by the site of a greenhouse at the top, which so that'll be next year's biggest project.
That's a big project, yeah, that'd be good to see.
And a lot of the plants that you see in here have been grown from seed. I have lots of pots of Serencia brushii, Formosa cross. There's probably 5 or 6 potfuls of seedlings there, which will be potted on next year. These are growing quite nicely. Echinocerius hybrids that I've created there. Beautiful flowering size plants. Big pink flowers as big as the plant itself. Quite hardy as well, of course. Aloe polyphylla seedlings. Quite a number of those have been rehomed, but we've got the aloe aristata crossed with polyphylla. They set seed all by themselves, so that's what they are. There's more of those coming along. They're not remarkable in appearance, but I'm sure they've got polyphylla genes going on there.
Oh, I've spotted a flower here.
Oh yes, a mezem. So a lot of the Mesembryanthemaceae start flowering this time of year. This is one of the kind of the type that you would grow in a greenhouse. It's a glotophyllum, not by any means a show bench specimen, but when you get flowers like that on them, they're quite worth growing. And of course, a lot of mesems are hardy outside, and those are the ones that I tend to grow, the hardier mesems. We've got Opuntias that I've grown from seed, some rather scruffy-looking Trichocereus candicans that might be worth trying outside. Probably one that will never be planted outside, but this one I'm definitely keeping for myself. It's a seed-grown tree aloe, Aloedendron ramosissimum, but it's already got a branching habit, which is a nice shape to it. What else we got in here? We've got various agaves that ultimately might be destined for the garden. There's a Agave Montana Baccarat over there that almost certainly isn't Montana, probably is Gentrii. Some Cycads down here, Macrozamia communis from seed. Again, they're a little bit neglected, but not too bad for it. And they're about 5 years old, so you know they've got a long way to go before they're big specimens. And whether they've got really the hardiness, I'm not sure. But
is this greenhouse heated over winter to any degree, or
it is about 5 degrees?
Okay.
Yeah, 5 degrees in the winter for this greenhouse. And this is the greenhouse where the insect gets started off. And a conservatory is ideal for insects because you can give them the warmth in the spring to start them off. But what I find is that I need to turn up the temperature in the greenhouse just to get them growing, really. You need somewhere sizable to start them off. A hardy bromeliad, or certainly the hardest of the Dickia genus there, and that's Velascana, which should be hardy outside. There is a Puya, Spathacea or something like that, and that should be the hardest of the Puyas. I don't have it, but I'm on the lookout for one.
Very good. There's so much here, isn't there? So many other plants to try potentially outside as well.
I mean, Agave wakamahi, I had a plant that flowered. I grew it in the garden in the last house for years, and when I moved house, dug it up, it promptly flowered and set seed. So I have lots of seedlings of Agave wakamahi. And the other agave that flowered was the Obscura Lophantha hybrid. And lots of its, progeny, which that's a favourite, that one. That's a very nice one.
That's really good.
That one's quite different, but, it's a sibling.
Shows you the variation,
Yeah, nice spines, nice colour spines on them. And a nice mid-stripe as well.
Beautiful.
They're going to be nice plants. I could go on.
Well, I think we've escaped the showers so far.
We have, yeah.
We've managed to get through. We've had our backing track as we've gone around the garden.
Yeah.
With a concert across the road.
Techno music, yeah. Why not?
Yeah, but it's been great to have an update and look around the garden and seeing the changes and the growth of plants as well, and seeing how successfully so many plants that are on the edge have got through the winter as well. So it's great to see that.
Yes.
And it'd be great to come back again in the future and see the developments and seeing how the plants progress.
Absolutely.
So thank you for showing us around your garden, Joel.
You're very welcome, Kris. You're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
There we go.